chosen one. Someone you know actually hired a private investigator to follow you. Yes, someone that close, that familiar, that smiling in your face kind of person. They wanted answers, proof, evidence that could justify the obsession they've been hiding. So they paid someone to track your every move, where you go, who you're with, what you're building in silence. But what this investigator found, it shocked even them, because instead of dirt, they uncovered destiny. Your intentions are pure, your focus is terrifying to anyone living in deceit. The investigator realized they weren't following a criminal, they were following someone chosen. Now that truth is circling back. The one who hired the spy is panicking because exposure is near. They wanted to uncover your secrets, but what's about to be revealed isn't about you, it's about them. Right now you're feeling it. Something is misaligned, something is out of tune, like a guitar that has been strung wrong. Every note feels off. You're standing at your window looking out at a world that suddenly seems unfamiliar. The people around you are acting strange, too cheerful, too interested. Their smiles are bright, but something hollow exists behind them. It's like watching actors perform for an audience who isn't paying attention. But you're paying attention. You've always paid attention. That's part of what makes you dangerous. Overconsumption is happening around you, not of food or drink, but of your energy. People are taking too much, demanding too much, pressuring you to socialize when you need solitude, pushing you to conform when you're meant to stand apart. You're feeling burned out because your energy has been drained systematically. And here's what you need to know. That's intentional. That's part of the plan. Keep you exhausted so you don't notice what's really happening. Let me tell you about the person who hired this investigator. It's family. Someone who's supposed to have your back. Someone who knows your history and your struggles and your dreams. But instead of supporting your growth, this person watches it with growing panic. You see, you've been working your fields, planting seeds, doing the groundwork, and now you're harvesting. You're plentiful. You're abundant. You're collecting the fruits of labor. This person never thought you'd complete. That abundance you're stepping into triggered all of this. This family member had a plan. A specific order of events needed to happen. Dominoes were arranged in a precise sequence. First this, then that, then the next thing. You needed to fail at a certain point. You needed to make specific mistakes. You needed to stay small and manageable and under control. But you went rogue. You became a maverick, a misfit, a risk-taker who refused to follow the script written for your life. When you stepped out of line, when you refused to conform, the entire plan started unraveling. This family member isn't working alone. Others have been brought in. There's a team here. Multiple people with interconnected roles. Some you know, some you don't. Some are being paid directly. Others owe favors. A network is being activated against you. And at the center of it all is this private investigator. Someone with questionable morals. Someone who will take money to dig up dirt on anyone. Someone who will plant evidence if the real thing can't be found. Someone who will lie under oath if the price is right. This investigator is starting to see through the illusion. You were described as reckless. Your responsibility is being observed. You were described as unstable. Your consistency is being documented. You were described as causing problems. Your boundaries are being maintained while something real is being built. Every day you're followed. The story this investigator was sold gets weaker. Every conversation that gets recorded proves you're not who was described. Now let me tell you what this is really about. Money, massive amounts of money. An inheritance is involved. Life insurance, a legacy. Your family member has been counting this money like it already belongs to someone else. Plans have been made for it. It has been spent mentally. An entire future has been built around having access to it. But there's a problem. That money is tied to you, coming to you, and access to it can't happen unless something happens to you, or unless proof exists that you're unfit to receive it. So a case started being built. Documentation was needed that you're incompetent. Evidence was needed that you're unstable. Proof was needed that you're dangerous to yourself or others. A paper trail was needed that would hold up in court. Witnesses were needed who would testify to your dysfunction. An investigator was needed who would create a file thick enough to convince lawyers and judges that you shouldn't have control of your own inheritance. That's why the surveillance. That's why the paid actors entering your life. That's why the setup. You're not the person being claimed. The investigator can't find what doesn't exist. You're being followed to work, to the gym, to the grocery store. You're being watched paying your bills on time, treating people with kindness, making responsible decisions, building genuine relationships, living with integrity. All of that is being documented. All of that is creating a file, just not the file anyone was paying for. The investigator is sitting on evidence that proves the opposite of what was supposed to be found. Photos of you being stable, videos of you being kind, records of you being responsible, testimonies from people who say you're genuine. And slowly, uncomfortably, this investigator is realizing the wrong people are being worked for. Understanding is dawning, that the real criminals are the ones paying. Realization is setting in that a weapon is being used against someone innocent. While you were being followed, while your daily routines were being documented, patterns started being noticed that had nothing to do with what was supposed to be found. How often you help people without expecting anything in return is being observed. How you hold doors open. How you let people merge in traffic. How you tip generously, even when service is mediocre. How you speak kindly to service workers. How you remember names of people others forget. These seem like small things, insignificant details, but the opposite is true. This is evidence of character. This is proof of who you are when nobody's watching. Except someone was watching. Someone was taking notes. Someone was building a profile, and that profile doesn't match the story that was sold at all. The investigator has hours of footage showing you being a decent human being, days of surveillance proving you're not the villain in this story. The ones with the bright smiles and the eager energy, perfect and polished and charming. But demons are wearing human faces. Paid actors are playing roles. One of them might be presenting as a potential romantic partner, moving fast, love-bombing you, talking about future plans before a real conversation has even happened. Another might be coming as a new friend, mirroring your energy, saying all the right things, but watch how many questions get asked. Watch how interested this person is in your finances, your relationships with family, your plans for the future. There's also someone from your past circling back. An ex, an old flame, someone who wasn't your type then and definitely isn't your type now. This person is part of this too. Activation has happened for a specific purpose, to distract you, to destabilize you, to create emotional chaos that can be documented and used against you. Things are being offered that look appealing on the surface, but your spirit knows something's wrong. Your intuition is screaming at you to stay away. Trust that. If these words stirred your consciousness, hype this video to help more chosen ones awaken to this. Now here's where the story accelerates. The investigator is having a crisis. Payment is being received to destroy an innocent person, and sleep is being lost over it. The evidence that has been collected is being reviewed. None of it supports the narrative that was sold. All of it proves you're exactly who you say you are. Someone trying to live life. Someone who's done the work to heal and grow. Someone who deserves everything that's coming. But something else is being seen in this investigation. The real story is being uncovered. The family member who hired this investigator is hiding things. Secret work exists that doesn't want to be exposed. Connections exist to people doing illegal business. Money has been moved inappropriately. Lies have been told to other family members. 2 files are being built now. The one that was supposed to be created about you, which contains nothing damaging, and the one being created about the people who hired this investigator, which is explosive. The investigator also caught something else on camera. The people who hired this work were caught too, because when someone is being followed, the people in that person's orbit inevitably get encountered, and what the investigator saw when your interactions with this family member were documented was chilling. The fake smiles were seen, the forced affection, the way this person's entire demeanor changed when you weren't looking, the way this person talked about you to others versus how this person talked to you directly. The investigator has recordings of conversations that weren't supposed to be heard, phone calls about you where this family member says things that would make your blood boil, meetings where strategy for pushing you out gets discussed, moments where laughter happens about your struggles, text messages where celebrations occur about your setbacks, all of it documented, all of it time-stamped, all of it admissible as evidence. You see, when someone is hired to surveil another person, making sure nothing worth surveilling is being done becomes crucial. This family member got sloppy, got comfortable, got arrogant. A belief existed of being untouchable. A belief existed that money and connections provided protection. A belief existed that the investigator was loyal, because loyalty can be bought. But loyalty bought is loyalty that can be sold to someone else for the right price. The investigator started digging deeper on personal time. Questions started being asked that weren't in the original scope of work. Money trails started being followed that led to interesting places. Discrepancies in stories started being noticed. Connections started being seen that didn't add up. This person may have questionable morals, but skill exists at this job. And the job is uncovering truth, even when the person paying doesn't want that particular truth uncovered. What got found is going to blow this situation wide open. This family member has been living a double life. The person everyone thinks exists versus who actually exists are two completely different people. Secret work is happening. Side hustles exist that aren't exactly legal. Relationships exist that would shock the rest of the family. Financial dealings exist that look clean on the surface, but fall apart under scrutiny. Lies are stacked on top of lies, stacked on top of more lies. The investigator found out about debts nobody knows about. Gambling problems, substance issues, affairs, fraudulent insurance claims, forged documents, money borrowed against assets that don't belong to this person alone. Promises made to dangerous people who expect those promises to be kept. This family member isn't just greedy. Desperation exists. This isn't just scheming because someone wants your inheritance. Need exists. A hole exists so deep that your money is the only thing that can pull this person out. Now you understand the urgency. Now you see why waiting for natural circumstances couldn't happen. Now you comprehend why resorting to hiring an investigator and planting fake friends and manufacturing scenarios occurred. Time is running out. Whatever debt exists, whoever is owed, the deadline is approaching. Your inheritance was supposed to be salvation. Your downfall was supposed to be rescue. Your destruction was supposed to be deliverance. But you're not cooperating with the timeline. You're not falling apart on schedule. You're not making the mistakes that are needed. You're not providing the ammunition needed to build a case. And with every day that passes, with every moment evidence of your incompetence can't be produced, the situation becomes more dire for those plotting against you. The investigator sees all of this, understands all of this, and starts making calculations. If this family member goes down, which seems increasingly likely, where does that leave someone who was hired to do dirty work? If this conspiracy gets exposed, which seems inevitable now, what happens to the person who collected the false evidence? If law enforcement gets involved, which seems probable given what's being uncovered, how does an investigator explain being involved without facing charges? This is when the investigator makes a move. But it's not purely altruistic. It's strategic. A deal is being cut. Getting ahead of the inevitable is happening. Positioning is happening as a cooperating witness rather than a co-conspirator. Information is being traded for immunity. The client is being sacrificed to save self. That's the reality of the criminal world. No honor exists among thieves. No loyalty exists among conspirators. Everyone saves themselves when the ship starts sinking. A specific incident becomes the turning point. The investigator is following you like has been done countless times. You stop to help someone. Could be someone whose car broke down. Could be someone who dropped groceries. Could be someone who's lost and needs directions. Whatever it is, you stop. You help. You don't have to. Nobody's forcing you. Nobody's watching except the person literally being paid to watch you. The investigator documents this moment, but something about it hits different. Maybe because observation has been happening of this family member, operating with such calculated cruelty. Maybe because listening has been happening to conversations about you that are so venomous. Maybe because being part of a system designed to hurt someone who doesn't deserve it has been occurring. Whatever the reason, this moment of simple human kindness becomes the catalyst. The investigator goes home that night and can't stop thinking about what was seen, can't stop comparing your character to the character of the person paying, can't stop wondering what kind of person is being become by participating in this, can't stop calculating the cost to personal soul. That's the moment the decision gets made. That's when the flip happens. That's when everything changes. But there's more happening that you need to understand. While this investigator is having a moral reckoning, the family member who hired this work is escalating. Impatience is growing. Results are being demanded. Manufactured evidence is being pushed for, since real evidence isn't materializing. Scenarios are being suggested that cross lines the investigator wasn't willing to cross before, but is definitely not willing to cross now. The request comes that you should be approached directly, that posing as a romantic interest should happen, that seduction should occur to make you make bad decisions, that recording should happen of you in compromising situations, that engineering should occur of scenarios where you look unstable or irrational or dangerous. Willingness exists to go further than was originally discussed. Willingness exists to break laws that weren't willing to be broken before. Desperation exists, and desperation makes people reckless. The investigator refuses. For the first time in this entire operation, pushback happens, no gets said, a line gets drawn, and that refusal tells the family member everything needed to be known. The investigator is no longer reliable. An asset has become a liability. A weapon might be pointed in the wrong direction. This creates panic. This creates paranoia. This creates mistakes. The family member starts making frantic phone calls, reaching out to backup options, trying to find someone else who'll do what needs to be done. But here's the problem with conspiracy. The more people who get involved, the more likely exposure becomes. The wider the net gets cast, the easier getting caught becomes. Every new person brought in is another potential whistleblower, another possible informant, another weak link, and the investigator is documenting all of this too. Every phone call requesting someone to falsify evidence, every meeting to discuss illegal tactics, every conversation about framing an innocent person, all of it recorded, all of it saved, all of it building a case that's the exact opposite of what was intended. You're still unaware of most of these details. You know something's off. You know people are acting strange. You know your intuition is screaming at you, but you don't know the full scope of what's happening behind the scenes. You don't know about the investigator's change of heart. You don't know about the evidence being compiled against your accuser. You don't know about the imminent exposure. Not yet, but you feel it. On some level that goes beyond conscious awareness. You feel the shift. You feel the energy changing. You feel the tide turning. You feel momentum building in your favor, even though you can't see the mechanism creating that momentum. This is what it means to be protected by forces you can't see. This is what it means to be guided by wisdom you didn't ask for. This is what it means to be a chosen one. The investigator takes everything that has been collected, everything that has been documented, and goes to authorities, not with part of the truth, with all of it. The original scheme to steal your inheritance gets exposed. The falsified evidence attempts get exposed. The financial crimes the family member has been committing get exposed. The dangerous turn the conspiracy has taken gets exposed. Everything gets exposed. The investigator reaches out to someone in your corner. Could be a lawyer you trust. Could be a friend who has connections. Could be law enforcement directly. Whoever it is, gifts get brought. Files, recordings, photographs, documents, evidence of everything this family member has been doing. Not just to you, to others. Proof of insurance fraud that goes back gets handed over. Evidence of forged signatures, records of money laundering, details of extortion. This is bigger than anyone realized. When authorities start pulling on this single strand, the entire sweater unravels. Other family members who've been victimized get found. other people who've been scammed, other schemes that haven't come to light yet. This family member isn't just targeting you, you're just the current mark. Others existed before you, others would have existed after you, but now it stops, now it ends, now the pattern gets broken. Now let me put you onto something real. Destiny Engine. I built this because I was done watching chosen ones get dragged through betrayal, isolation and attacks while their enemies strutted around unchecked. I want to help you accelerate the speed of your divine justice and step fully into your purpose, and the beauty of it, you don't even have to lift a finger. Destiny Engine takes their downfall and flips it into your rise. This isn't another meditation app. It's declassified consciousness technology, the same mind programming tools your enemies once used to install fear, competition and scarcity, re-engineered to restore your sovereignty and align you with the cooperative, upgraded operating framework. It generates personalized sequences mapped to your divine purpose. The hardest thing you'll do is put on headphones, press play, and watch your enemies keep digging their own grave. The collective upgrade is underway. Start your Destiny Engine for $1 today and turn everything they did to break you into fuel for your rise. Link in the description. Every technique used to surveil you gets used to surveil them. Every method employed to document your life gets employed to document theirs. Every strategy deployed to find your weaknesses gets deployed to expose theirs. The tools meant to destroy you become the tools that destroy them. The weapon formed against you becomes the weapon that defeats them. When this happens, watch what occurs among the people who were plotting against you. Unity dissolves instantly. The family member who started this feels betrayed. Payment happened for loyalty and exposure is being received instead. Lashing out happens at the investigator. Threats get made. Intimidation gets tried. But it's too late. The files have been copied. The evidence is in multiple hands. This genie can't be put back in the bottle. The fake friends start backing away. Suddenly being busy happens. Suddenly other commitments exist. Suddenly the eager energy is gone, and excuses are being made for why meeting up can't happen. Distance is being tried before the explosion happens. Something is known to be coming, and being caught in the blast radius isn't wanted. The ex who was circling back disappears completely. One day constant texting is happening, and the next day blocking has occurred on everything. That's how you know genuineness never existed. Real people don't vanish like ghosts. Paid actors do. Arguments start breaking out among the conspirators. Big ones, the kind where accusations fly and true colors show. Blaming happens about the plan failing. Finger-pointing happens about who was sloppy, who talked too much, who didn't follow through, who got greedy, who got scared. The team that came together to destroy you is tearing itself apart, trying to avoid consequences. The investigator exposes that requests happen to plant evidence if finding it couldn't happen. Admission happens that extra money was offered to manufacture scenarios that would make you look unstable. Revelation happens that the entire operation was about framing you, not investigating you. That revelation changes everything. Suddenly, this isn't just about greed, it's about conspiracy. It's about attempted fraud. It's about crimes that carry serious penalties. Now we're approaching the climax of this story, the tower moment. In spiritual terms, the tower represents sudden upheaval. Everything built on lies comes crashing down. Secrets get exposed. Hidden things come to light. Truth explodes onto the scene so powerfully that nobody can ignore it anymore. And that's exactly what's about to happen here. A massive exposure event is going to happen. Could be a family meeting where the investigator presents findings. Could be a legal proceeding where evidence gets submitted. Could be law enforcement getting involved because the crimes are serious enough to warrant intervention. However it happens, the truth is coming out. The surveillance, the hired investigator, the paid actors, the planted evidence attempts, the money motivation, all of it. You're watching all of this unfold with a strange sense of detachment. You're not gloating. You're not celebrating downfall. You're observing with the clarity that comes from knowing you did nothing to deserve this attack. You're watching with the peace that comes from knowing truth always surfaces eventually. You're witnessing with the understanding that justice sometimes takes time, but it always arrives. You're not sitting around waiting for vindication. You're not putting your life on pause until this resolves. You're not letting chaos dictate your peace. You're building, you're creating. You're investing in yourself and your future and your dreams. You're moving forward with such momentum that schemes become background noise. You're making decisions others didn't think you were capable of making. You're handling money others didn't think you could handle. You're building relationships others didn't think you deserved. You're creating success others didn't think was possible for you. Every assumption made about you is being proven wrong. Every limitation placed on you is being shattered. Every ceiling attempted to be imposed is being broken through. This is why the investigator's crisis of conscience is so profound. Watching is happening of someone becoming everything they were told this person wasn't. Documenting is happening of someone achieving everything they were told this person couldn't. Recording is happening of someone being everything they were told this person shouldn't be. And at some point, even someone with questionable morals has to acknowledge the wrong side is being worked for. You realize something profound about yourself through all of this. You realize you're not just lucky. You're not just blessed. You're protected. A force exists watching over you that's bigger than any conspiracy. A power exists backing you that's stronger than any scheme. A destiny exists calling you that's louder than any opposition. The timing becomes significant. Things reach their peak. The exposure hits maximum intensity. Consequences catch up to actions. The harvest comes due for everyone involved. The family member who started this faces legal consequences, financial penalties, relationship destruction, reputation in ruins. The fake friends disappear from your life completely, leaving space for real connections. The investigator faces consequences too, but also gets something like redemption by choosing truth over money in the end. And you step into a level of freedom you've never experienced before. The money arrives, the abundance flows, the inheritance gets transferred, the life insurance pays out. Whatever was tied up gets released. But more than the money, you get clarity, you get confirmation, you get validation. Everyone who whispered about you behind your back now knows the truth. Everyone who doubted you now sees your stability. Everyone who bet against you now watches you win. The family member behind this gets stripped bare, reputation destroyed, credibility shattered, relationships damaged beyond repair. Everything attempted to be done to you happens to this person instead. The pit dug for you becomes the grave. The trap set catches them. The weapon form doesn't prosper. It backfires spectacularly. You're not the victim in this story. You never were. You were the target. Yes, but being targeted doesn't make you powerless. Being attacked doesn't make you weak. Being conspired against doesn't make you vulnerable. You're the one still standing while the plan crumbles. You're the one still building while the foundation cracks. You're the one still growing while implosion happens around you. You don't cower. You don't hide. You don't shrink back hoping to be left alone. You stand tall. You maintain your peace. You continue building your life. You let exhaustion happen to those trying to stop something that's already in motion. You let money get wasted on investigations that prove your innocence. You let self-exposure happen while attempts are made to expose you. Your happiness becomes a weapon more powerful than anything that can be deployed against you. Every time you smile genuinely, you win. Every time you laugh freely, the narrative weakens. Every time you succeed, the lies become more obvious. Misery from you is needed for validation to be felt. Suffering from you is needed for superiority to be felt. Brokenness from you is needed for wholeness to be felt. So you become unbreakable, not out of spite, out of self-respect. You were feeling misaligned, out of tune, looking out your window at a world that seemed unfamiliar. The people around you were acting strange, too cheerful, too interested. Well, now you understand why. Now you see what was happening. Now you recognize the surveillance for what it was. But here's the transformation. You're not looking out windows anymore, waiting for something to feel right. You're walking outdoors knowing everything is right. You're not trying to tune an instrument. You're composing a symphony. The overconsumption of your energy stops because you stop allowing it. The pressure to socialize ends because you only engage with real people now. The burnout lifts because carrying dysfunction for others no longer happens. The anxiety that had you looking at your reflection in water during a full moon transforms into confidence that has you standing under that moon claiming your power. That family who hired the investigator isn't your family anymore. Not in any way that matters. Blood doesn't obligate you to accept betrayal. DNA doesn't require you to tolerate conspiracy. Shared history doesn't mean shared future. You release them, not with anger, with finality. The choice was made when someone was hired to follow you. Your choice gets made by walking away with your inheritance and your peace intact. The plentiful harvest you were experiencing when this started multiplies. The abundance grows. The success expands. Because that's what happens when opposition removes itself from your life. When energy vampires get cut off. When fake people exit. When schemes collapse. When truth wins, you get space. You get clarity. You get momentum. You get acceleration. That investigator who was hired to destroy you becomes part of your testimony. Proof exists that even people paid to find dirt on you couldn't manufacture it. Evidence exists that your character is solid. A witness exists to your integrity. The file becomes your vindication. The documentation becomes your defense. The surveillance becomes your proof. So when people ask you later how you survived what you survived, how you won what you won, how you overcame what you overcame, you'll tell them this story. You'll tell them about the family member who hired a private investigator. You'll tell them about the paid actors and fake friends. You'll tell them about the scheme to steal your inheritance. You'll tell them about the plan that fell apart. And then you'll tell them the most important part. You'll tell them you never played defense. You played offense. You kept building while plotting was happening. You kept growing while scheming was happening. You kept succeeding while sabotaging was happening. You kept peaceful while panicking was happening. You kept faithful while failing was happening. You kept moving while stuck was happening. You kept winning while losing was happening. That's what chosen ones do. Permission to thrive doesn't get waited for. Approval to succeed doesn't get asked for. Validation to be great doesn't get needed. It just is. It just does. It just becomes. And when people come against us with small plans and smaller minds, shrinking doesn't happen to fit the narrative. Expansion happens until the narrative becomes irrelevant. Someone you know hired a private investigator to follow you. Evidence of your dysfunction was wanted. Proof of your integrity was found. Documentation of your chaos was wanted. Records of your peace were found. Witnesses to your failure were wanted. Testimonies of your success were found. Reasons to take from you were wanted. Reasons to fear you were found instead. And now you stand here on the other side of conspiracy, holding everything that was attempted to be stolen. The money in your account, the peace in your spirit, the freedom in your life, the truth in your story, the victory in your testimony. You stand here not as someone who survived an attack, but as someone who thrived despite one. Not as someone who barely made it, but as someone who made it look easy. This experience, as painful as it was, as violating as it felt, as betraying as it remains, this experience was necessary, not because you deserved it. You didn't. Not because you needed to learn some lesson. You already knew what you needed to know. But because you needed to see what people are really capable of. You needed to understand who's really in your corner. You needed to recognize the difference between real love and performance. You needed to develop the discernment that only comes from facing deception. You're walking away from this situation with more than money. You're walking away with wisdom that can't be bought. You're walking away with clarity that can't be taught. You're walking away with strength that can't be manufactured. You're walking away with confidence that can't be faked. You know what you're capable of now. You know what you can survive. You know what you can overcome. The investigator who was hired to find dirt on you found something else instead. Someone worth respecting was found. Someone worth defending. Someone worth telling the truth about. And in the end, that truth became your freedom. That truth became your vindication. That truth became your weapon. That truth became your victory. You are not a victim. You are a victor. You are not defeated. You are dominant. You are not broken, you are unbreakable, and every single person who came against you is about to learn what happens when you target someone the universe is protecting. When you scheme against someone, destiny is guiding. When you conspire against someone, truth is defending. Loss doesn't just happen, everything gets lost. While you don't just win, you win everything. That's not revenge, that's justice. That's not luck, that's divine order. That's not coincidence, that's consequence, and it's already in motion. Someone you know hired a private investigator to follow you, and what this person found was shocking. Not because you were everything feared, but because you were nothing claimed. Not because you were falling apart, but because you were putting yourself together. Not because you were failing, but because you were succeeding despite sabotage. Not because you were the problem, but because you never were.